Hey everyone, I'm Oliver, and welcome back to the Daintii channel. With the release of Super Mario 3D All-Stars on the Nintendo Switch last month, I've been given a great opportunity to complete what many consider to be unique, breathtaking, and even genre-defining games for the first time. Yep, that's right. Before September 2020, I had never actually completed Super Mario 64, Sunshine, or Galaxy. But when these games released on the Switch in enhanced versions, I thought I should finally do it. Today, I'll be reviewing one of the 3 games included in that package, Super Mario Sunshine. I dabbled in this game a little bit when I first picked it up on the GameCube, but I never really got past the first few shines. In my experience, the controls felt a little bit janky, and it just really wasn't fun to play. But right now, you're looking at a guy who 100% of the game, nabbing all 120 shines. So, was it a fun experience that changed my initial view of the game, or was it an absolute slog that I only pushed through to get this review out? Well, you'll have to keep watching to find out. When Super Mario Sunshine first released on the GameCube in 2002, it had some big shoes to fill. The only 3D Mario game at the time was Super Mario 64, which was, and still is, considered to have defined the 3D platformer genre and been one of the best games ever created. So, it was only natural for some fans to be shocked when the game was first revealed, and many drastic changes were shown off. For example, the game would take place entirely on one tropical island, Isle Delfino, and Mario would get a new power-up that stuck with him for the majority of the game. Personally, I love the presentation of the game. Many people today often criticize Sunshine for reusing the tropical theme for every level and lacking the world diversity of 64. However, that's simply not the case. All the levels feel different in some way, whether it be the cool and calming Gelato Beach, the fun and wondrous Pinna Park, or the eerie Serena Beach. If you notice, I just named 2 beach levels there, but one of them is more focused on the beach area, while the other actually takes place in a haunted hotel. Neat stuff. The fact that all these levels take place on the same central island, and you can even see some of the other locations in the distance in certain levels, just makes the whole world feel connected and makes it all the cooler in my opinion. Yeah, that's one thing this game really excels at, world building. When they decided to make the game take place far away from the Mushroom Kingdom, they decided to add a whole new cast of characters. You won't really be seeing any familiar faces, aside from the regulars like Peach and Bowser. Even the enemies they did bring back have drastic design changes. Instead, the residents of the island you'll be talking to are the Piantas and the Nokis, 2 completely original races to this game. I love these guys. The Piantas are so jolly and full of personality. The world in Sunshine feels lived in, and so much better than the empty castle halls and disconnected worlds of 64 in my opinion. But wait, you didn't think I was going to talk about this game's presentation without talking about the soundtrack, did you? This game has a classic soundtrack. I really like how they reuse the same leitmotif across multiple areas while changing up the style to give each area its own feel. The Delfino Plaza theme is arguably iconic at this point. The plot is another unique aspect of the game. Like I mentioned, the story involves Mario and Peach taking a much-needed vacation to Isle Delfino, where Mario is immediately jailed for allegedly defacing the entire island with graffiti. It isn't until later that you realize the culprit is a grey doppelganger, dubbed Shadow Mario. All the graffiti has caused the Shine Sprites to leave the island, so you'll need to collect them while cleaning the graffiti. I think it's really cool that there are events leading up to Peach's kidnapping in this game, rather than the stock story. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, the cutscenes in this game are voice acted.
What's this icky paint-like goop? It's moving! No, boys! Don't touch that stuff!
It can be quite jarring for people that aren't used to it, since they never return to this in any other game, but I think it's a nice, in a campy sort of way. Although, the bad audio mixing can cause the dialogue to be a bit too quiet sometimes.
We'll be watching you, pal. We'll know if you start slacking off.
So yeah, as I said before, you'll go through several stages set on the island collecting Shine Sprites. Obviously, these are the game's main collectible, switching it up from stars in the last one. There are 8 standard missions in each stage, netting you a single shine each, along with 1 shine for collecting 100 coins, and 2 other secret shines that are usually accessed by completing some sort of challenge or finding a secret that isn't immediately obvious or pointed out to you. I found these missions to be pretty diverse, and I quite enjoyed many of them. Usually every stage will have the standard red coin shine, and the 7th shine in every stage always involves chasing Shadow Mario down and trying to spray him with... Oh yeah, that's right! At the beginning of the game, you partner up with a little talking robot called Flood, which stands for Flash Liquidizer Ultra Dowsing Device. This guy will be strapped to your back for the majority of the game and has many features. You can use the spray nozzle to aim and shoot water around, to clean up graffiti, spray enemies, and uncover secrets. The hover nozzle sprays water downwards, which you can use to, as the name implies, hover in the air for a few seconds to cross more horizontal distance, and it just jumps in midair. Those are the main two you'll be using, although there are 2 additional ones you unlock later, the rocket nozzle, which shoots you high into the air, and the turbo nozzle, which lets you run extremely fast and cross water. You might think the addition of something like the hover nozzle makes the game a lot easier, but there are a lot of challenging sections, and FLUDD will be taken away for some secret platforming levels to truly test your skills. I think those are a great way to provide some additional challenge. Some of the missions were difficult in a good way. Some were straight up unfair, but I'll get to that later. One thing related to the game structure that I wasn't a fan of was the fact that it's required to beat the first 7 episodes of each stage in order to access the final boss. I think it would have made a lot more sense if every shine was of equal value. The completionist like myself was going to play them all anyway, but the way it is now, players who are only interested in completing the story can't skip missions they're really stuck on, and they won't have any reason to experience the other 64 shines the game has to offer. You may notice there's one thing I haven't mentioned yet, and that's the blue coins. There are 30 of these bad boys tucked away in every level, with 30 additional ones split across the hub world Delfino Plaza and the final level Corona Mountain for a total of 240. You can exchange 10 blue coins in a hut in Delfino Plaza for a single shine, which amounts to 24 shines you can get from hunting all of them down. Thing is, because of the poor structure of the game, casual players have no reason to collect a single one. However, when people talk about this game, the blue coins are one of the aspects people loathe. This is because the game doesn't tell you where any of them are, and there's no way to keep track of which ones you've nabbed and which ones are still out there. To add on to that, some blue coins are only available in certain episodes, so for some people this must have been an absolute chore, and if you were only missing like 3 in the whole game, you were kinda SOL. Call me crazy, but as I progressed through the game, I actually looked forward to getting blue coins. This is, however, a consequence of living in the modern era. I was aware of the blue coins before I started, so I manually created a checklist for each one in the game, and I used 2 separate guides to find each one. I also waited to collect them all in one shot after collecting every shine in a given stage, making sure not to accidentally obtain any while I was working through the missions. I liked going around the stage to access areas I wouldn't have otherwise explored and finding them. However, I do acknowledge that without these modern tools, the blue coins are just poorly implemented. Speaking of poorly implemented, as I did fear with my trials with the game on GameCube, there is a hearty serving of jank in Sunshine. While the 16:9 aspect ratio, the 1080p resolution, and the uninverted aiming helped to fix some of it, this isn't a review of 3D All-Stars, it's just a review of Super Mario Sunshine. And even with those enhancements, there are still some areas which are only difficult because of the poor controls and physics. I probably don't have to even explain these since they're so infamous. The Pachinko level, the Corona Mountain boat, the Leaf level, these were all an absolute pain to complete. I did power through them, but I plowed through my lives and almost threw my controller many a time. And if you watch the remasters and remix video I made, these are exactly the issues that I hoped Nintendo would fix, but since this is only an enhanced port, none of it changed, which is quite unfortunate. I guess this is the point where I should talk about the final stretch, so spoiler warning, skip to this time right here if you don't want to hear the twists of this 18-year-old game. So, about halfway through the game, Peach is officially kidnapped, and Shadow Mario is revealed to actually be Bowser Jr. This was the Koopa Kid's first appearance in any Mario game, so that's neat. Apparently he thinks Princess Peach is his mom, and that Mario is kidnapping her from him, which I'd have to admit is a unique plot point. I do find it kinda strange that after this, Shadow Mario still shows up level after level and not Bowser Jr. The plot pretty much takes a backseat after that point. After you beat the 7th episode of each stage though, the entirety of Delfino Plaza will be flooded, allowing you to access Corona Mountain to chase after Shadow Mario. Then, you'll finally get to battle Bowser himself and save Princess Peach. I will admit, the final section is pretty underwhelming. Corona Mountain is pretty short, save for an infuriating boat section that controls horribly, and the final boss battle itself didn't take me more than like a single attempt in about a minute. Kinda disappointing. The ending itself is neat though, and I love the heartwarming cutscene between Bowser and his son just before the credits roll.
Junior, I've got something difficult to tell you about Princess Peach.
I know, she's not really my mama. Someday, when I'm bigger, I wanna fight that Mario again.
That's my boy. Well put, son. The Royal Koopa line is as strong as ever. But for now, let's just rest a while.
In conclusion, Super Mario Sunshine is a great, refreshing experience for those coming off of Super Mario 64, with amazing locales, great worlds, and fun and engaging levels. However, it is significantly hindered by products of its time, like poor physics and just bad design choices. Overall though, I really enjoyed my time with this game. It really grew on me. So it was kind of hard to decide on an actual grade, but In the end, I'm giving Super Mario Sunshine an A-. Alright, I guess that wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Super Mario Sunshine, taking a retrospective look at a pretty old game. And if you want to see me do more of these kinds of reviews in the future, make sure to click that like button and subscribe so that I know that you like this kind of content. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord server if you want to talk to me, and I'll see you guys all next time. Now, if you excuse me, I gotta enjoy a pina colada on the beach. Bye-bye.